80%. That's how many customers, on average, will never return to you after making their first purchase. If you're in e-commerce, you probably know that keeping a customer is always much cheaper than acquiring a new one. So how can you keep more of your customers and improve your retention? In this video, I will teach you how to get your customers to come back and purchase from you again with a post-purchase flow built in Klaviyo. I often say that retention is what makes or breaks an e-commerce business, and if you watch this video until the end, you'll be able to improve your retention within weeks of implementing the simple instructions that I share here. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kasey, and I run Luck & Co agency. My team helps 7- and 8-figure e-commerce brands maximize their revenue from email and SMS. And here's a screenshot from one of the Klaviyo accounts that we manage. As you can see, when you do this right, your post-purchase flow can bring in even more revenue than the abandoned checkout flow and be your second highest revenue generating automation after the welcome flow. So, are you ready to see how it's done? Before we jump in, please click the subscribe button under the video so you never miss valuable tutorials like this one and keep growing your e-commerce brand with me. And now, once you're done with that, let's dive right in. What you will learn. So here's the plan. First, we'll talk about the goals of a post-purchase flow and what it should achieve. Then we'll jump into Klaviyo and start building. I'll show you the flow triggers and filters, the timing of emails, and some cool conditional splits for personalizing your post-purchase emails. I'll throw in a few bonus tips and lessons learned from doing this for over 40 different e-commerce brands. And of course, we'll go into the email builder and create an email or two together. We'll also cover how to synchronize these post-purchase emails with transactional emails coming from Shopify and other platforms. And finally, we will look at benchmarks so that you know how to analyze the results of your flows and what goals to set for yourself in terms of conversion rates and engagement. Goals of a post-purchase flow. We're going to open Klaviyo in just a minute, but before we do, let's talk about something super important. What should your post-purchase flow achieve? Here's the most important thing that you should know about this part of the customer journey. The time between when someone paid you money and when they receive the product in mail is the time they're going to be the most engaged with your content. And no wonder, they gave you their money, but they haven't gotten the product in their hands yet. So they're going to open almost anything that you send them. And you better use this time right. A good post-purchase flow should achieve 5 goals. Goal number 1. You want to make your customer feel great after the purchase. We're all familiar with customer remorse. It's when we've bought something only to regret it just a few minutes later. Why did I spend all this money on tea again? I have so much tea at home. The right message sent at the right time can reassure the customer of their choice, which, surprise, will lead them to enjoying the product a lot more, and as a result, lead to a higher chance of that customer repurchasing from you in the future. Bonus tip, get your customer excited. Not just happy about their purchase, but jumping out of their pants in the anticipation of that product. Most post-purchase flows miss to get that excitement in the customer. Goal number 2, provide all necessary shipping information. If you're like me and most people, you'll love tracking that order, don't you? Checking the delivery status, tracking the mail truck, give your customers a peace of mind by making it super easy to track their purchase. Goal number 3, educate your customer on how to use that product. Again, this one is a no-brainer. If they have an easy time using your product, they'll enjoy it more, which will lead to them coming back. I call this customer activation. You may think this is not applicable to you if you're selling something like apparel or supplements. You just take the supplement with a glass of water, right? Well, try to think beyond that. How many times a day should I take it? With food or without food? And in what dosage? Any instructions can be helpful. And if you're selling apparel, you can send styling instructions or tips for caring for their products. Goal number 4, upsell and cross-sell. This is probably what you expected, right? Once you're done with all of the things to achieve the previous 3 goals, you can get to selling more. Upselling and cross-selling other products in this flow is great, especially if that customer is excited and activated. Wink, wink. Goal number 5, ask for reviews and testimonials. Reviews are still one of the most powerful ways to achieve social proof, and there's no better time to ask for reviews than during this flow. And it doesn't technically have to be a part of your Klaviyo flow. If you're using reviews platforms such as Okendo or Yotpo, you can have the review request emails coming out of there. Just make sure that you synchronize them with your Klaviyo flow so that your customers don't receive too many emails at the same time or in a weird order. Okay, so now that we've got these fundamentals out of the way, let's get building. And if you've learned something so far from this video, please be a champ and hit that like button. It really goes a long way and helps me a ton. Thank you so much. Now, on to building the flow in Klaviyo. All right, so once you're in Klaviyo, what you want to do is click on Flows on the left and then click this black button that says Create Flow. We don't want to create from scratch, and instead we want to use a flow template prepared for us by Klaviyo. And the thing that you want to search for is shipping. So start searching for shipping. Depending on which shopping platform you're using, Shopify or Wix or something like that, you should see something that says shipping confirmation. So for Shopify, it's full shipping confirmation or partial shipping confirmation. For Wix, it will be called just shipping confirmation, but something of that sort. And what's really important is you want the trigger to be order fulfilled. So I'm going to choose full shipping confirmation by Shopify. And just to double check once this loads, right, the trigger is fulfilled order. So this is perfect. Let's call this YouTube Post-Purchase so I can find it later and click Create Flow. So what's really important is a lot of the placeholder coding that's in that first email. And Klaviyo actually updated their flow templates to now include both SMS and email. I'm going to skip the SMS part for the sake of this video so that we don't go forever and don't take up a whole hour. So let me just delete it. But if you're using SMS in your marketing, then for sure keep it and just optimize it and edit it to your needs. So for now, let's just delete it. And pause here for a second and go over trigger, what starts this flow, and that trigger is fulfilled order, as I just said. What this means is that this flow will trigger as soon as that order is fulfilled, which is very different from placed order. And in Klaviyo, these are actually two different events, placed order and order fulfilled. And we at Luck & Co actually like to send another flow called customer thank you flow for placed order, but that's a whole different story. This flow is designed to be sent to the customer once their order is started shipping. So that's what's important. You need to understand what this trigger means. Now onto flow filters. You don't actually need any flow filters in this flow. In other flows like welcome and abandoned checkout, we like to add a filter so that anybody who places an order gets excluded from the flow. And that's because the main goal of those flows is to convert a customer. Here, even if a person made another order after starting this flow, we still want them to stay in this flow because we send things such as product education and things that will excite them for their upcoming order. So all of those things still need to be sent to them, even if they made another order from this flow. So long story short, no flow filters here, unless there's like a very specific consideration that you need for your business. And what I like to do is to send the first email immediately, so you don't actually need any time delay before the first email. Now let's click on this email and optimize and customize it a little bit for our needs. So this is an internal name, so let's just call it Post-Purchase 1, PP1. And then you definitely want to optimize the subject line and the preview text. Something that I like to use, even after doing this for many, many years, is something that we created at Luck & Co called Flowmaster. Flowmaster is sort of a blueprint for all of the fundamental flows that you should have as an e-commerce business, where we go flow by flow, email by email, telling you what should be in each email, what kind of subject lines that you can use, what the structure should look like, and then showing you examples of emails that our team has created for each specific use case. So I'm actually going to consult Flowmaster and pull my subject line and preview text from here. I'm just going to copy paste and go into here and do this. Your order has shipped and we're so excited. Now let's click Edit Email. As you can see now, this looks a little wonky and there's a lot of coding in here. And that's precisely the reason why we wanted to start from a Klaviyo template, because it's going to be a nightmare to come up with all of this on your own. All of this code will be specific to the shopping platform that you use. So if you have Shopify integrated, Klaviyo will automatically come up with this code to work with your Shopify platform. If you're on Wix, they'll do the same with Wix. As long as you have a direct integration with Klaviyo between your shopping platform and Klaviyo, this is going to work. So what you want to do is you don't want to touch any of this code and just edit the copy around the coding. So for example, hi, first name, we've got good news. All of the items from order, blah, 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 have been shipped. So you can customize this line of text or like anything that's around the coding. So for example, if we want to say, hi, Kasey, drum roll, please. Like if you only sell supplements, you'll say all of your supplements from order, and then you keep this code, all of your supplements from order blah blah have now been shipped. And then click done. And then you can customize copy in other places like this, just keep the code. And a very important step is what you want to do is you want to click preview and test. And once you do, you're going to see what this is going to look like for your recipients. I'm not going to do this because this is a Luck & Co Klaviyo account that's not actually connected to an active Shopify website. It's connected to a Shopify website, but there are no orders on it. So if I'm previewing it, there's not going to be anything shown to me. But if we go into Flowmaster, I can show you a couple of examples of what and emails look like. So this one, as you can see, your undies are bundled and headed your way. This is a great example of customizing that copy, but then still keeping the order number, the shipping address, and the tracking number of the customer, as well as the button with which they can track their order. And this is how we're activating and engaging customer right here by offering them to learn more about their suppliers and the supply chain and how this brand pays fair wages and stuff like that. So more education about the brand values. Here's another example from another brand who is doing this post-purchase email number 1. And this one is actually keeping the photo of the product that the customer ordered. And then again, you see all of this tracking information, the tracking button. And this is where we go more into getting the person excited, what to expect, how much CBD should I take, and all of the frequently asked questions. We provide an easy link for the customer to learn more and get answers to their questions as they're waiting for their order. And with this customer review, we're addressing that buyer's remorse that I talked about at the beginning of the video. And then finally over here, we have upsell and cross-sell right in the first email. So you can do that as well. So these are kind of two very different post-purchase emails. The first post-purchase emails, the first one is very minimal. The second one kind of addresses all of the topics that I just described. And you can choose either and see how they work for your brand. So now that we're done with email number 1 and you have an idea for how you can customize it, what I want to show you is very cool and fun ways to add a conditional split into your flow and have multiple paths in the flow instead of just one to personalize your emails even more. And I'm actually going to show you another example of a post-purchase flow that we built where we personalize email 1 based on whether the customer has rewards points or doesn't have reward points. And in my experience, that's one of the most valuable and meaningful way to personalize and customize those emails. Another very popular way is to split the paths based on whether somebody is a new customer or a returning customer. Because the way you would communicate with those different types of customers is different. If it's a returning customer, you want to say, hey, thanks so much for coming back and ordering from us again, blah, 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 blah. And then maybe you would spend less time talking about brand values and brand origin and the brand story because your assumption is they've ordered from you before, they know who you are. Whereas for the first-time customer, you do want to spend time on that because those are some of the things that might contribute to them becoming a loyal customer and coming back. However, what I found is that splitting based on whether somebody is a rewards member and has points versus doesn't have points is an even more meaningful way. Because for brands that do use our loyalty and rewards program, such as Smile or Loyalty Line or similar, what you want to do is you want to funnel as many of your customers into that loyalty and rewards program because they're more likely to use points and then come back to you and purchase from you again. So if they already have points, we say, oh, hey, great. Thank you again for your purchase, and this is how many points you've earned. For people who don't have points yet, we say, hey, you just made a purchase, but you haven't made an account yet, and if you do, this is how many points you can earn. So that's why it's a very meaningful way to split your flow. And then finally, you can split your flow any way you want. You can split it based on geography. You can split it based on the products that are included in the fulfilled order, which is triggering the flow. And that's actually something else that we're doing within this demo flow that I'm showing you. Email number 2 over here, we're only sending to people who purchased a particular kind of product. It happens to be the best seller for this particular brand, and it's the product that needs the most education. It's really important for the customer to put it on correctly and then care and wash it correctly in order for that product to last them longer. And that's why it's important for us to send these instructions, but only send them to people who bought this product and not other products. So in order to achieve this type of segmentation and personalization, what you want to use is conditional splits and trigger splits. And they work slightly differently. I have information on the differences between these two splits in another video about abandoned checkout flow. That video is long, but there's a section in there in the chapters that's specifically about splits. So go check it out if you need more information on this. But hopefully this makes sense and gives you enough ideas for your own brand. All right, now let's add some more emails into our flow. Before we do that, we want to add a time delay. So let's drag and drop this time delay and set it to 1 or 2 days. And this really depends on how long the shipping takes for your brand. Let's say we have very fast shipping. So I'm just going to say 1 day and then add email number 2. And then the way you decide what you want to put in that email number 2 is go back to the goals of a post-purchase flow that we discussed at the beginning of this video and see which of those goals you already covered in your email 1 and which goals should be covered in email 2. And again, if you are a member of the Flow Master program, which by the way, I'll link in the description under the video so that you can check it out and join if you're interested, you can go into PP email 2, and this is where I talk in detail about what should be in this email and the potential structure for this email, as well as some subject line and preview text ideas. And again, just examples of emails that we've built for the brands that we've worked with for specifically post-purchase email number 2. And this should give you a lot of ideas, but some things that I like to do is if the brand has a blog, I definitely utilize those resources and include whatever is relevant in this email, especially if the brand has videos, educational videos about products. That's really great for post-purchase email number 2. Keep in mind that people receiving this email are usually still waiting for their product. So don't go into the product education yet necessarily because they don't have the product in their hands, but build that excitement and educate them in ways that make sense without them actually having the physical product in their hands yet. And then after we're done with email number 2, I do like to add another email number 3. I really like to make post-purchase flow at least 3 emails. And this is where the delay can be a little bit longer because I definitely want email 3 to arrive after the customer has received your product in mail. And they can actually interact with it and use the information that you've sent them in that email and apply directly with the product. So now let's talk about syncing these emails with the other emails that you have going out of Shopify and other platform that you're using. If you're using things like review platform, Okendo, Yotpo, there are a ton of other ones, Judge Me, and things like that. A lot of times they send review request emails directly from that platform. If you're using loyalty and rewards programs, they often send emails directly from that platform. And then if you have a subscription program, and if this particular customer joined the subscription when they made their order, there are also emails going out of there. So what you need to do is you need to open all of those platforms side by side and see the time delays and how many days pass after the order fulfillment or placed order event between all of those emails, and just make sure that you don't have customers receiving way too many emails on the same day or within a short period of time, or that the emails are not out of order. Like, for example, you don't want to send them a review request email and then send them, hey, great, you received your order. This is how you use your product. For a lot of those platforms, you can actually bring the emails into Klaviyo. For example, if you're using Okendo for your reviews, you can totally trigger them out of Klaviyo and send them from Klaviyo. If you're using Yotpo for your rewards and loyalty, you can also bring all of those flows into Klaviyo. And that's definitely what we do for our clients. We like as many of the emails that come from the brand to come out of the same platform, so we can keep the branding the same, so that we can create automations that are all synced, and also create segments that make sense, and just ensure that the customer journey is optimized, is seamless, and that people don't get bombarded with too many emails. Analyzing your flow performance. Once your flow has been live for at least 30 days, you want to look at the results and analyze them and see whether your flow is doing good or not so good. One of the best ways to gauge those metrics is to go into Klaviyo benchmarks and look at how your flow is performing compared to your peer group. The way you do that is you click on Analytics on the left in Klaviyo and then click on Benchmarks. And once you're in Benchmarks, you want to go to Flows, and then select the time period that you're interested in. So for example, let's say we want to look at quarter to date. And instead of looking at all flows, you want to go and select post-purchase flow. What it's going to do, what Klaviyo is going to do, is it's going to compare that post-purchase flow to all flows. And what you actually want to do instead is to compare it to thank you flows only. And once you clicked on that, it will show your open rate, click-through rate, which is slightly different from click rate, placed order rate, which is your conversion rate, email revenue per recipient, and as well as some deliverability metrics such as bounce rate, spam complaint rate, and unsubscribe rate. And then what's really cool about this is that Klaviyo actually rates your performance as it compares to your peer group. And I'm actually going to switch from detailed view into a more simple view. So this is where it shows me my value for this flow. So for example, my open rate is 64%, and the median for my peer group is 60%. And so that's why Klaviyo marks my open rate as good. My conversion rate over here is 1.36%, which is way higher than the conversion rate for other thank you flows in my peer group. And so that's why my conversion rate is considered excellent. One note on your peer group. A peer group is a group of 100 businesses that are also using Klaviyo that are similar to your business according to a few different metrics, such as price of the products, AOV, the list size, how many, like the frequency of the campaigns that you're sending out of Klaviyo, and so on. So Klaviyo just finds 100 businesses that are most similar to you. They also do consider the industry that you're in, or the vertical or the niche. And that's who they're comparing you to. And I really like this because this is not like very wide industry, because even within your industry, like if you're in apparel or supplements or anything else, like that's super wide. And there are companies that are way larger than you, companies that are way smaller than you. And so industry benchmarks kind of become not reliable enough for my liking. So that's why Klaviyo peer group is very different and much more reliable and interesting and valuable to look at. I hope that this video was helpful. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I always reply and try to help. And if you haven't been watching my videos, do make sure that you subscribe. We have a lot of valuable stuff over here on Klaviyo, on e-commerce, on marketing in general, and especially on email marketing. And if you're looking for another cool video to watch, make sure that you check out this one that we linked in the corner right now. Other than that, as always, if you haven't yet done that, please like this video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching until the end.